Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Heartwell dev stream, the live stream series where we continue to develop this adorable Souls-like action RPG with platforming mechanics and a branching narrative. If you want to find these dev streams interesting or helpful, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and boot that bell button to stay notified. Now, it's been a little while since we had a dev stream on the channel just because we had a whole month of dev streams in April, but I've been quite busy outside of the dev streams. For example, also hello Rektor, thanks for dropping by. How's it going, dude? Welcome, welcome. For example, you've probably noticed this one barricade here. That is not for show. It actually is real. So, right now I have a bunch of different weapons equipped because I was doing some testing with the bosses. But, the way this wooden barricade works is if you don't have a high enough damaging attack, well, that was high enough damage because we have so much range damage. Ironically, this is actually the exact amount of damage you need to deal to break the one barricade, so that's been programming. That's been programmed. I don't have to reset that for testing. But the point of this, if I did not have the insanely high stats I have right now because I've been doing some testing, that attack would not have destroyed that one barricade. You'll notice, for example, the fist did not destroy the one barricade. It doesn't have enough damage. But anyway, that's one of the many things I've been doing. I've also been quite busy this entire week working on various aspects of dialogue for the tutorial dungeon, including recently some dialogue towards the later parts of the tutorial dungeon. You're good now. You have the way work just filling out. That's awesome, Rektor. Glad to hear it. And also, hi, Copper Nettleson. Thanks for dropping by. How's it going? Right now, I'm just navigating my way back inside the map because I was, I think I used the save file. I saved on a different frame. There we go, that's better. Okay. But as for what we're doing tonight, I see you've done a lot of work recently. Good job. Thanks, Rektor. I'm trying my best. And, yep, no worries, Rektor. Or I understand it can be busy sometimes. That's perfectly fine. So, now I'm just saying, alright, where are we at? Well, for those of you who keep track of my Discord server, we're actually getting pretty close to demo release time. So, the way I currently see things is, I'd say in about a month, the demo will be in what I'll term the minimum viable product stage. What that means is, someone sitting down to play the demo could pick a save file, and go from start to finish without any noticeable stopping points or like getting stuck somewhere to something's unfinished. So what I'm saying is within 1 month the demo will be functionally here. However, that does not mean that everything I want to be in the demo will be there quite then. For example, lore bits, you probably noticed there don't seem to be a whole lot of them around the dungeon right now. That's because those haven't been placed or implemented yet. So that wouldn't be finished with minimum viable product stage, but will be finished for like the full release of the demo. So at this point, I'd say I'm maybe a couple months away from releasing the full demo, which is, again, given how, you know, I've been working on this game for almost 3 years, it's been a long time coming. But just the mere fact that we're getting that close is, I think, an accomplishment. But in order to keep things moving forward, there are some miscellaneous things, shall we say, that I would like to do tonight. The most pressing one is obviously right here. So you'll notice these are impassable walls, which are meant to be, of course, to prevent the player from going out of bounds. There's this room here that we don't have the impassable walls quite programmed for yet, so that's going to be priority number one. Because it would kind of be a shame if we're playing the game, we start here, and we can't even enter the dungeon because the walls haven't been programmed correctly. So that'd be the very first thing we're working on tonight. Let's see, let's move that around. Where are they? There they are. And same thing over here. Like this impassable wall was placed before I drew this out, so we definitely need to update that. Guess who has a copy of the new Spider-Man movie? Oh, did you go see it, Copper Nicholson? How was it? I remember really enjoying the first Into the Spider-Verse. It's really, really well done. So let's see. Main layer. I'm noticing we are probably going to need some stairs or something right here. So let's go with... Need like a level 2 tile. Yeah, like something like this. Yeah. Oh, do tell, Bruckbar. What have you been up to? Do tell. We're gonna move this around. I'd say put this... That goes there. Honestly, there's no reason... Well, I mean... Let's put this over. Order. That's batch. Order. That's batch. That'll do. So what I'm doing, chat, is I'm just getting the platforming all set up here because the intent with a lot of these, we're gonna need a date here at some point, but not one of these dates. It's gonna be a different date, or maybe it would be one of these dates, but just one that the player doesn't necessarily have a key for yet. The idea with the exits to the tutorial dungeon is that you can't come back in for at least a little while until you have a certain key item, no pun intended, to do that. Oh, you're saying there's... I'm assuming that's not a spoiler. Copper Nettle saying you're just making stuff up. Because we don't want spoilers for Into the Spider-Verse, too. Or I guess it's called Across the Spider-Verse. Alright. So, got those placed. Now I need some wall tiles for up here. Let's do that. Grab ourselves some level 3 tiles. There we go, that's better. Now we got that wall placed. Now let's place the walls over here. So we'll grab that. Actually, do we have a 5 wall here? I think we do. I'm currently, chat, placing just some walls around for this new area. No! I moved the background there for a second. Moving the entire background to be a bit jarring, to say the least. But that's okay. These green walls will prevent the player from going out of bounds. Can you imagine if Milliam was a spider? Her man, listen. Milliam already has Lammy. She doesn't need to. She's already a superhero because of that. She doesn't need any spider powers. I mean, she can already fly. Like, she can fly, she can smash through deadly objects, all thanks to Lammy. So, there's that. And speaking of Milliam, how are you enjoying the Justin Molyneux D, Copper Nicholson? Very, very curious about that. And also, Druckor, since you're here, have you gotten much chance to work on your game recently? Be interested to hear how it's going. To put 1 or 2 here. Let's start with 2. Yes. I have actually. Haven't worked on too much, but you did implement some things. Do tell, Bruckler, do tell. What'd you do? Tell us all the things. Okay, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. We need 1 more. Oh, no. Alright, that should be sufficient. Just got, you've been meaning to implement a return to the last save point function for a while. Just got done doing that, basically. Also adding the little tooltip on the pause screen to let people know where they left off if they spend a long time without entering the game. That's awesome, Record. I'm glad. I'm glad you're making, you have that, return to, last save points functionality. Because, I mean, as with Heartwell, that's very important, too. Though, I guess in Heartwell's case, the irony with this tutorial dungeon is that this right here is going to be the only save point in the entire dungeon. And there's three floors to this dungeon. So, that's a testament to how circular the level design is with this dungeon, but by that same token, it's still important to have those save points. Thank you. Ness Era Action Adventure, but you think that's awesome. Hey, fair enough, I agree. Like, I definitely took heavy inspiration from Dark Souls 1's level design, and rest assured that that inspiration is going to continue as we go deeper and deeper past the demo when we get to that point. I have ideas, chat, alright? I have lots of ideas. In fact, while I've been working out this week, and in the past couple of weeks as well, one of the things I'd like to do is, chat, you remember how when we were implementing the cobras, the rattlesnakes, and the cabrattles, when we started like functionally listing out a bunch of different combinations of them? Like, I think I have the notes here from a while ago. Let's see here. Where was it? It was a long time ago. But if you manage to make a large dungeon perfectly navigable despite only having one save point, that's an achievement. Well, I'll be looking for feedback on that when the full demo is released. Though I think I've done a decent job having enough shortcuts in the tutorial dungeon to make it feel like it's navigable and accessible, even though it'll feel very beefy for a tutorial dungeon, because it's not just a tutorial, it's a dungeon. Like, it's an actual dungeon. Like, I refuse to just have... You all know I hate bad tutorials, so I figure why not have the tutorial dungeon just be an actual dungeon. Oh, here we are. This is what I was talking about. So remember, chat, when we were making these kinds of lists, you know, various ideas for enemy combinations and platforming situations? Yeah, I do have problems here. Hey, Selected, thanks for dropping by. How you been? But yeah, so this stuff, what you're seeing right here that we did for the rattlesnakes and the other enemies in the tutorial dungeon, while I'm working out, in between, like, lifting weight sets, I'm doing the exact same thing, but for areas after the tutorial dungeon, because I've got, I want to say, 90 to 95% of the basic enemy ideas for the rest of the game already written out. So, like, again, it's still very rough, but functionally, I know what I need to program, so to speak, for the rest of the enemies in the rest of the non-boss enemies in the game. And because of that, it means I can actually do, again, in my free time, like I pull up notes on my phone where I write different combinations of enemies and different things for, again, stuff that's beyond the tutorial dungeon, because I think that's a good use of my time, and also will help aid development later down the line, because this was a very important step when we were designing the tutorial dungeon. And wow, now I'm looking at it. The dev stream notes are almost 60 pages long. What have we been doing? When did this get so big? I mean, I guess when you work on something for multiple years, that tends to happen. Alright. You have thoughts, but I'll wait for Antomicx to finish before sharing them. Alright, fair enough. I completed my thought for a second, Spot Dip, so go for it. Let's grab that, put this over here. There we go, chat. Now the mining tunnel's all happy and set up. I think we'll want to move this frame transition block one slightly lower. Oh, you meant the game. Your thoughts about... Oh, you mean for Jedi Survivor? Ah, fair. Don't tell me anything. I don't want to be spoiled. All I know is what happened at the end of the last stream, which, Bode betrayed us, and also Rip Seer, but that boss battle in Darth Vader was awesome. Like, that was a really, really awesome boss battle. like Darth Vader. Like, it's a shame you weren't there for that one, Gretgor, because I mean, you played Dark Souls 3, Gretgor, right? I'm pretty sure you played Dark Souls 3 because that boss battle against Darth Vader. There's a moment when Seer like uses the Force Ring like a burning bookshelf on him, but Darth Vader just stands up from it and like his armor's practically on fire like a Lord of Cinder. Your first playthrough was on stream. Okay, yeah, I am remembering correctly then. The reason I bring it up, Gretgor, is because like there's a moment in about halfway through that fight, where Seer versus Darth Vader, where Darth Vader again, basically Seer force pulls a bookshelf that's on fire on top of him, but he stands up from it, and his armor's like burnt and charred, and like you see glimmering embers on him for the rest of the stream, and he just looks like so cool. Like almost, I jokingly called him Darth Vader's Sith Lord of Cinder. At that point, it was really epic. Yeah, the thing was, that wasn't even the hardest boss battle last stream, because we had to fight the one and only Rick the Door Technician. That guy, that pinnacle of boss design. Like, people should be studying that for how to make that boss that's truly accessible and entertaining. I mean, the way he just used the doors against us, it was unreal. Like, I had to, if not for that death pit that we could use to cheese him, like, I don't know what we would have done. Oh yeah, we also fought Deedon too, and Deedon's no longer around. Yeah, but surprise twist, apparently Deedon's not going to be the final boss of Jedi Survivor. Like, I thought he was. They kind of been building him up, I thought, to be kind of like the ninth sister, not the ninth sister, the second sister. But I guess I was wrong. Like, Bo just turns out to be an Imperial agent or something. You haven't thought about the Vader fight you didn't share? Alright, fair enough. What's your thoughts on that, Spudkip? The only thing you're excited for right now is Project Terror, but still a long way. Fair, Gretgor, fair. But hey, make the plan, stick with it, and you can make progress. I mean, that's how I've gotten this far with Heartwell, and it's taken, like, what, 3 years at this point? It's important to make plans and to stick with them as best you can. You think it's really cool how right before the Vader fight, they have a fight you're intended to lose to progress. So it's in your mind that you'll lose the fight in the game if you lose the fight in the story. Oh, that's a good point. Excellent point. I do like that. Oh, you mean the new game for right, Rattlefish Games. For that's project. I'm excited for that too. Listen, if that game has any kind of RPG mechanics that we can use to make a challenge run out of it, you know we're going to, alright? Like, we love Crosscode, we love Rattlefish Games, and if they make a game that's worth challenge running, it's gonna be on the list, alright? It'll be on the list. I mean, another game I'm looking forward to challenge running when it comes out is Shrine's Legacy. I'm not sure what the release date is. I think they said something like 2024 or something, but you remember, it's that game I played a demo of on stream a while back, and we had the developers on, and it was a lot of fun. Well, when that game finally releases, I'd certainly like the challenge run. I don't think it'll necessarily be like the longest game, because it's, the way it seems to be built up, looks like one of the more like 1980s, Star Tropics-esque kinds of games, which, you know, by that time standards would have been long, but by today's standards might be, you know, definitely a bit shorter than like the Trails of Cold Steel or a Souls game or something, but still should be fun to find a challenge run set for that. Yeah, awesome. In the firefight, you'll probably die a few times, so you think, I'm not progressing the story. This means Sierra's going to win, survive the fight, and then you win, Sierra dies. That's actually an excellent point, Spudkip. It's like, it uses the gameplay mechanics to subvert your expectations. So when I first saw Darth Vader, like, again, you saw me react on stream, Spudkip, I thought, there's no way we're supposed to win this fight. And like, Seer's going to die. And then when I die in the fight and we just respawn before the fight, I'm like, wait, we do have to win this fight? And I'm like, but Vader, he has plot armor. Like, how does this work? And what ends up following is, it's like, by the end of the fight, I was just going so in, I was so invested, and we finally got to that last cutscene after nearly depleting Vader's health bar. I'm like, yeah, we did it! Seer's going to, like, maybe knock Vader out or something, and then we'll escape. And then it's like that moment where she looks like she stabs Vader, but she just barely missed because of Vader's positioning, and Vader stabbed her. It was just, oh. very, very, very great build up, and I think the fact that they have us like playing as Seer the whole way through just makes that death hit so much harder, because it shows that even though we did our absolute best, it wasn't enough. And even more so than like at the end of Jedi Fallen Order, because at the end of Jedi Fallen Order, you know, Darth Vader's invincible, and you don't fight him, you just run from him. So to see, I guess, Seer and Cal going from, you know, just running from Vader to Seer actually being enough of a Jedi Master to stand a decent chance against him, it's, you know, that's some good character growth. But it was also a tragedy. They made Darth Vader extremely intimidating in Jedi Fallen Order. Like, for real, he was even more intimidating in Jedi Survivor. Like, when he showed up, I was just thinking immediately, Seer's gonna die. Like, Seer is totally going to die. But then the design of the fight gave me hope that she might live, and then she died. Very well done, though. Very, very well done. Are you planning to do 100% of the game, or are you finished after the story? Great question. It's a challenge run, so the goal is simply to beat the game, Spud Tip. I'd say I want to go for most of the bounty hunter or side quests, just because I think being able to hack some of the droids will be very useful. And also because I think the bounty hunter character is just hilarious. And I want to see where it goes. But in terms of like doing every single side quest and every single armor piece or something, I don't have a desire to do that. I just have a desire to, you know, hopefully beat the game with the challenge run rule sets, and possibly complete most or all of the bounty hunting side quests. What about you, Sweatdip? How far do you see yourself going with the game? I think we need one of these. All right. That'll do for that. Then we'll need, I think, a 2 right here, a 4x4 here. There's a 2x1 and a 4x1. Wait, no. We need a couple of things, so let's move our template walls over this way. Probably about 100% of the game. But I just wanted to be finished by the time I got done, so I'm done with it for now. We'll probably replay it in Fallen Order when the inevitable third game comes out. Fair. I mean, they already confirmed that there'll be a third game. And that's, I'm pretty sure Disney also has plans to include Cal Kestis in some of the Star Wars like series after his third game is released, so as not to spoil the third game. So definitely be interested in looking into that game when it comes out, but that's many years down the line. And at this point, chat, at the rate we're going, the next game to challenge run after Jedi Survivor, barring any sudden releases that catch my attention, the next game to challenge run would be Trails to Zero. So I have to admit, like, the longer the further we get away from Trails of Cold Steel 2, the more I want to play Trails to Zero. It's just that, I mean, I have to give props to Niham Falcom for how well they handled, I guess it was the divertisement section near the end of Trails of Cold Steel 2. When we got to play for a brief moment as Lloyd and Ritzia. And they made so many references, I'm assuming they were references anyway, to their games. How the Last of Us performed, you're surprised that you haven't heard anything about live action Fallen Order adaptation. I mean, that's what I'm saying, like, Cal Kestis will be most likely included in some of the live action, like, Disney Star Wars stuff after his third game. I think they already stated intentions to do that. And the fact that, you know, the Hidden Path is canonically part of the current canon of Star Wars means that Ahsoka Tano, as Fulcrum, probably already knows that Cal Kestis exists and generally what he's up to. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays into things. But also, chat, speaking of Star Wars, I'm certainly hyped for the Ahsoka show that comes out towards the end of the summer. I want to see live action Thrawn, alright? It'll be cool to see the live action Ghost Squad as well. Yeah, you're not excited to return to Cold Steel. I mean, we're not returning to Cold Steel Copper Nettle since Trails to Zero. It's technically a duology that's separate from Trails that happens at the same time as Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. And technically, Trails to Zero came before Trails of Cold Steel. So, I'm very curious to see what gameplay mechanics are or are not present in Trails to Zero. And if there are any, like, substantially different gameplay design choices in the Trails to Zero, I guess the cross-spell games compared to, like, Trails of Cold Steel. I'm just going to assume that we're not going to have any mechs to play with, like no Valamor or anything like that. Just because in the moment where Lloyd and Ritzia were facing who they faced, they didn't seem to call for any sort of like knight or divine knight or anything like that. So I'm going to assume that there won't be any like Gundam for Lloyd to pilot. I'm assuming that's just a ring thing, but that begs the question: is there something else for the cross-spell games that's the Trails games don't have? Like, I don't know. I have many questions. You say anything more recurse Toa means, but the thing is, Copper Nicholson, because there's a whole different set of characters in a whole different location, that means that there's going to be a whole new cast of characters to make memes for. I'll be very curious to see, like, which characters become the memes. Like, we already know in Trails, at least in my Trails of Cold Steel challenge runs, Fee Clausel, Milliam Orion, it's Fee Clausel and Milliam Orion who I think are the biggest memes. But the rest of the Class 7's also hilarious at various times. No, it means that one of these characters is secretly Toa in disguise. Listen. We know that Toa goes to Crossbell briefly in Trails of Cold Steel 1, so there's always the chance she shows up as just a random NPC, but I'm not gonna hold my breath for that just because they would have had to have planned that, like, way, way, way in advance for that to be a thing. But actually, and similarly, I'll be curious to see if there's any characters that, like, follow similar archetypes to the characters from Trails of Cold Steel. Like, will there be a Toa-like character? Will there be a Fee-like character? Will there be a Milliam character? Will there be, like, a Laura character or a Gaius, so on and so forth? Or, dare I say it, maybe they'll just be all unique characters that have their own personality. I mean, that's probably how it's gonna be, which I'm all for. I mean, see what a different cast of characters is like. They will all be Milliam type characters. I doubt it. Lloyd certainly did not seem to be a Milliam type, and Ritzia seemed, at least from what little we saw, seemed to be kind of like Alyssa, except maybe not as much of a tsundere. Which, in my opinion, is a positive thing, because Alyssa in Trails of Cold Steel 1 could be kind of unbearable at times. I mean, she got a lot better in Trails of Cold Steel 2, but still. Like, until, like, towards the very end of Trails of Cold Steel 1, she was very, very, you know, she was definitely one of my least favorite parts of Class 7. The Toa character will be in love with the Milliam character? No! Also, Alphen will be her worst self. No! Trails of Cold Steel 2 redeemed Alphen for me. Don't take that away! Don't take it away! Like, the fact that Trails of Cold Steel 2 redeemed a character like Alphen for me is a testament to how well written it was. Actually, we could probably move this door, since this door doesn't have anything. Has an instance value of 0. Actually, they all have instance values of 0. How do I structure this? Oh, wait, no, they don't. Well, this door belongs way over here. Yes, Alphen shows she can be really sweet and kind and soul still. It's not just that, Gregor. It's not just that she can be sweet and kind. It's the I'm gonna bring up the moment in Berea. Were you there for that moment, Gregor, where Reen and Alphen went into a church and there were a bunch of nobles basically kind of almost making fun or a mockery of what was the name of it? Of I think it was Keldish, despite Keldish being attacked. And Alphen just had absolutely none of it. Like, she saw what was happening and she stood up, like, interrupted a sermon and basically lambasted all the other nobles around her and said, look, if any of you want to know what really happened, you can come find me outside of here. But you do not. Yeah, that was epic. Like, that was, like, the one moment I was actually, like, almost cheering for Alphen. I'm like, yeah, Alphen. And also the fact that, I think that showed character growth for her because she, you know, out of all, if we want to talk about privilege, it's hard to get much more privilege than than, like, the daughter or son of the Emperor. And yet, despite that background of privilege, Alphen actually defended the common people against other nobles in that moment. That was really, really epic to see, because that was the moment where I felt she was starting to care, you know, less about her desires to ship Reen with his sister, and more about actually being a good royal to the people in the Empire, and actually fulfilling her duties as a princess. So that was really, really cool to see. And also, I mean, in addition to Alphen, I mean, Trails of Cold Steel 2 really made me like Milliam as a character. It was the moment when Milliam explained that she had never cried. It's like, it completely inverted everything I had thought about Milliam up to that point. And then when she cried at the end of the dungeon because the rest of the Class 7 was going to be going away because they're graduating, like, that was powerful stuff. Yeah, love the moment she cried at the end. Maybe you won't hug her so much. I agree. Like, you know, Milliam and Trails of Cold Steel 1, I was just... it's like, the thing about Milliam and Trails of Cold Steel was we didn't have that context. That mayhap she had been gone through a lot of, like, psychological trauma or experiments or something like that. I'm leaning more towards experiments at this point, given what we saw in in that one cutscene where we're showing Milliam when she was younger. She was literally in, like, some kind of giant test tube or something. But, like, we didn't have a context in Trails of Cold Steel 1. So, definitely led me to completely misjudge Milliam as a character in Trails of Cold Steel 1. On the flip side, Trails of Cold Steel 2 is amazing. And not much more to say on that matter, because you all know my opinion on Trails of Cold Steel 2. Like, I think Trails of Cold Steel 2 is a profound game. Like, it really, really, really... It still sits with me. Like, that's how much it impacted me. Like, I still find myself thinking about Trails of Cold Steel 2, even though it's been how many months now since we last played it? It's been a long time since the game's done that for me. And also, looky here, chat. Looks like we finally adjusted all the walls that I needed to. Minus, of course, the walls in here that leave obvious openings, but that's for my testing purposes. That'll all be fixed for the demo. You still think Crow had coming, especially after what he did to those kids. Crow did a lot of awful things. You feel like the line systems and trails are the biggest weakness because they lock so much character content behind them, but you probably won't see them because of limited bounty points. I mean, I'd agree with you, Spudkip, except that Persona does something similar, and you probably... okay, I'll give Persona this. At least in Persona 5, it is possible to see all the bonding events for all, like, the side characters and stuff before the final boss in a single playthrough. However, that requires a lot of planning. So, while I'm not going to say I dislike the bonding system in Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, I think there's room for improvement, and that would be the one spot I would improve is like, you know what I think would be a great change to the bonding system in Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2? Make it so that if you complete the side quests, you get like an extra bonding point or something for a certain section. So that way, and that includes like the unmarked side quests, since that's such a famous, you know, thing that they do in the Trails games. Because if they did that, and made it possible to actually see all the bonding events like canonically, if you go out of your way, in a single playthrough, I think that'd be pretty cool. But as for what we have right now, it's not terrible. Like, you can still reload save files to see most of the stuff, but I do get what you're saying in the sense that it'd be nice if we could see some see all the stuff there that's wasn't there. Because, yeah, I guess now I think about it, in Trails of Cold Steel 2, like, the Emma events for the most part were all really, really excellent as well. They add so much to her character. And the same thing goes with Millium, and Toa, and Fee. I'm definitely losing track of time here. Point is, room for improvement. Not terrible, but definitely could be better. Alright, let's move. I think I need a sit spy one here. It's about one wall over there. Let's hit that over there. Where are the 6x1 walls? There they are. We found them. Hooray! I also really, really enjoy the song. It's very, very satisfying. It's has such a sense of progression to it. Also, and before I realized that won't work, so no. Grab this. Why did I move that over? Whatever. Let's move this wall in over here. That right there. And this 1x2 will move over up here, so that some computer screens are locked off a little bit. Kozer says soul be chained to Millium for all eternity. Oh, well, I know what would we call that? The Ghost of Millium Orion? Girl will be like, what did I do to deserve this? And Millium's like, everything! Yay! Still, the fact that I went this long without realizing that, I think it's Ashley Birch is the name of the voice actress for the English voice of Millium. The fact that I didn't realize that she was also the voice actress for Tiny Tina from Borderlands 2, it really goes to show how long it's been since I've played Borderlands 2. I mean, I remember Tiny Tina being such an iconic character, but I forgot what her voice sounded like, and when Millium showed up, I didn't recognize it, because it's just been so long since I played Borderlands 2. And now that Ashley Birch is, you know, Molly, the main character of the Ghost of Molly McD, it's also like, oh, I just only hear it as Millium. Like, that's just what my mind associates that voice with now. It's just Millium. Everything is Millium. Alright. Well, we got, I think, is that all the ones we need placed? I think that's most of them. Oh, that's one thing I do need to change, though. This frame must be moved over here. Drop down. Send that over to the back. Ba-bam, ba-bum. Because it makes more sense for the door to be there than it does right out here. And I think that'll be all the walls for this section. Alright, chat, minus the obvious things being left open for testing purposes. I think we've got all the walls set up. I do want to add another lever door, though. Specifically one right here. So, That's something I'll do. You think Milliam has a new VA in 12 Suits 3 and 4? Aw, really? No more Ashley Birch? But, like, that's the voice. I mean, I guess if Milliam has a growth spurt, you could make the argument that you could, you know, get away with having a different VA. But still, like, Ashley Birch is so talented. No. No, Topper Nicholson, no. Listen, alright, listen, as fun as it is to listen to the VAs, we all know that part of the fun of the Trails games is having me do the silly voices. So this is the Milliam voice. Yay! Anyway. So, not to worry, Topper Nicholson. We still did this voice. Where was it? Oh yes, lever doors. So I believe lever doors are this, but we have to set it to a specific thing thanks to the power of instance values. So, what I think I'll do, chat, actually I want to take a quick break to go take care of some things, and then when we come back, I'm going to create a lever door here, program it out a bit, and then we'll move on to other things. So, be right back, chat. Alright, everyone, welcome back, bro. Legend says, and Laura also gets a new VA in 4, but you think it's because in Cold Steel 4 would have been recorded around the time Critical Role started their own company and Marissa shifted her career. Alright, that's fair. That's fair. I can understand that. And no matter who's the VA, we'll always have, you know, my Laura voice, which I think is, I just kind of sort of like a British sounding voice. It's kind of like, we all know that I am the strongest, his character in Trails of Cold Steel. Heal 2, and basically have to carry every fight I'm in, but I enjoy fighting on the front lines, for I am an honorable knight. Anyway, so, yeah, now I think about it, like, thinking about just how the, like, in terms of, like, what games really stuck with me that we've challenged on the most, or it's like the most, like, defining, like, the most defining memes, for at least for this channel, have definitely come from the Crosscode and from the Trails games. So we made plenty of references to like Leia and Emily from like Crosscode and then Apollo, but we also made tons of references to Trails of Cold Steel, so that's also fun. There's just so many memeable moments. All right, so lever doors. First things first. Grab ourselves a door. And that goes over there. Let me just set the order real quick because I don't want to get that messed up. Okay, we're fine. I think. Yeah, we're fine. Alright. Yeah, I don't want Dorothy, like, shifting, somehow ending up in walls by accident. I think that will work. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Let's see if we can program a new lever. So I think we have... I need to actually find the lever list. I know we have one here. Ah, all right. Now we're in the levers. One goes up to 7. No, 8. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, chat, I'm trying to make sure that I don't accidentally pick a lever door that's already taken, since that would definitely mess things up. So that, I think that means 9816 would be the one we're interested in right now. And I think these would be exactly the same as their predecessors. This would be lever door 14, which ironically is actually the first lever door, but still. The player doesn't need to know that. Functionally, for them, it's the first door. So... bottom right hallway connected to the well, that's 5. Do I list it as 5? I do. Alright. Just to make absolutely certain that there is no number 16 in the lower area. I don't think there is. No. Alright, we're good. So we'll call this, connects the metal starting room to the central winding corridor. So we want to make this, chat, excuse me, the door and its associated lever shall be 16. Not 1, not 2, but 16. Uh, 16 you shall not count to unless we are going to 16. Let's drive this way up here. Alright, that lever looks like it's in a good spot. Now let's adjust the instance value so everything's all fine and dandy. Looking good. And for testing purposes, I'm going to move this wall for a second. Now, obviously, this will not be how it is in the demo, but we need that for the sake of testing things. And then we'll go into our code and make some adjustments. Alright, so chat. So for those who have played Elden Ring, this is a complete aside. What are, I guess, some melee weapons or spells or I guess armor sets that you wouldn't necessarily consider meta, but you found them to be a lot of fun and not exactly something you usually do on quote-unquote a normal playthrough? Just because I've been thinking of I feel like with a game like Elden Ring, there's so much to do, and I feel like, especially since my main experience with Elden Ring was the bow-only challenge run, there's a lot of stuff I definitely didn't get to experience. So I'm curious, like, what's those of you who have gone through Elden Ring, what did you find yourself gravitating towards? Was there anything that just kind of took you by surprise, like, wow, this is a cool thing? I don't really see too many people using this. Just to me, it's like my whole frame of reference for Elden Ring is using a bow. So trying to reorient myself to thinking about Elden Ring, just playing quote-unquote normally, I just kind of, I have to kind of wrap my brain around that for a second. Because my default reaction to anything is grab bow, jump backwards, spam arrows. Do the hoppy hops, as we call them in the challenge run. Okay. There are weapons besides the bow and Elden Ring. Listen, yes, of course there are, but not for the challenge runs. I know that's in our challenge run. Essentially, it was the black bow was basically all we used, except for a couple of rare instances where we used a great bow. But yeah, if you watch my bow only challenge run, you probably assume the only weapons in the game are the short bow, the compound bow, the black bow, and the golden great bow. And that's about it. But there's other stuff. It's just I never had the chance to really explore that. And there was a time when I was doing some PvP stuff in Elden Ring just for funsies after the bowling challenge run. But in order to do that, I really want to stay at low level so that the fights would last longer. And because of that, that definitely limited my options in terms of what I could do and what I could defeat. So it definitely made me look at the game a very different sort of way. It's able to get to like late game areas early without like leveling up any weapons super high. Alright. But what we really need... okay, this is the code I was looking for. We need lever door. Levers and lever doors. So that one. Catch for levers. We have the instance value stuff. Okay, I think there's a line of code somewhere that's... It's one of these, right? ensures all doors that are lever doors change to the correct animation. Change which door should use the lever door animations, change or add instant values to the... Okay. So, it's at line 1, so I'm assuming it's this line. No, it's not that line. Let's double check our notes. Okay, which doors are the lever doors? 5, 4, 3. Okay, it is those, I think. Wait, no, 3 is the lever door, but I think it's... Yeah, okay, 3 sideways, but 4 through 8 are lever doors that are actually horizontal. So... I think there were problems when we did an OR function before. Or were there? Let's try an OR function. Wait. Did the lever doors go beyond 8? They did not. Alright. It's equal to 16. Alright. That will do for that. I think that's the only line we have to change. Like, everything else, I think, happens automatically. Now, this is the reset for all the doors. I'll set this to 9816 so that we can reset if we need to. I think I made this fairly robust, so let's just see how this turns out. Alright, running our nice little test. We see, obviously, it is a lever door. So, we can't pass through it. Very good. No passing through lever door. Very good. Now if I press this... that isn't right! I forgot to set the... I may have forgotten to set the correct lever. Let me double check that. Something is incorrect. Something is very incorrect. No, it's 16. Is this the OR function not working properly? No, that worked correctly. Alright. Well, let's reset. Okay, so clearly there's another line somewhere that I need to adjust before everything works all fine and dandy. Let's take a careful look at this. Star frame. Okay, so this definitely needs to be adjusted. I don't know if this will work necessarily just because it's a for each object and a starter frame line. Those usually don't end well. But we'll see. Let's see, okay, so... we'll see if this works. If it doesn't, we can always make adjustments. what I'm looking at here, chat, is the lines of code for changing specific animations for the lever doors. Animation stop displaying. Then crouch down is over. Hooray. Yep, that's all the lever door code, and I think the code above that is the generic lever idle animation. Yep. Yeah, all in all, lever door is not super complicated. Let's test things out. First, let's go for our new lever door friend. Yep. Oh, hello, Drektor. Welcome back. How's it going? So right now we've gotten all the walls set up. We're testing a new lever door. That is definitely not correct. I think that might be a problem. Why? Press one lever, they all open. The best lever ever. Now, okay, clearly we need to make multiple lines of code for this. The power of lever doors compels us. Okay, I think this one was okay, but the other lines did not work. The other lines were too strong. We'll grab that. And yeah, beyond that, Darkor also just talked about excitement for channel drawing eventually trails to 0, and various opinions about Trails of Cold Steel and upcoming games. All right, I think that is everything. I would hope. Oh, that door is actually open, so that's a decent sign. But what's important? Yeah, I can't wait to watch that. I'm glad. I'll be very interested, like I was saying, to see what's different about a game that was made before Trails of Cold Steel in the Trails series. Hey, there we go. Look at it, chat. It's glorious. We can open up the lever door. And then we can also, when we reload, it stays open. The power of basic switches. Anywho, but yeah, so this room right here is actually the true starting point for the player. So they'll start here, open lever door, and then begin adventure. So that's already we're making some good progress. I know I need another door over here. For now, we'll grab this one, which has instance value of 0, which currently doesn't do anything. And we shall place it right here. Alrighty, you want to watch it? You're going to go play some Dark Souls 3. Alright, sounds good. Thanks for the look, Gregor. Have fun playing Dark Souls 3. So now that we have completed this, there's a couple directions we could take tonight, chat. We could... I have 3 ideas, which I'll write towards the top here. But first, a note to notes, add 98, 16... save file number, I think. Easy enough to find. 1 second. there. That are like the doors. Yeah. File number. As the door to the metal starting room. Into your documentation notes. So that way I don't accidentally assign this to something else later and then cause problems further down the line. Yeah, in terms of what we can do for the rest of the night though, chat, there are 3 big things I can think of. So the first thing, chat, so ideas for the rest of tonight's stream. Idea 1 is going to be begin tile mapping the last floor of the tutorial dungeon. So by that I mean actually putting in all the artwork and stuff. That's option 1. Option 2 would be place the lore bit objects at their locations throughout the tutorial dungeon. So, not adding the lore quite yet, but just placing these lore bit objects so we know where they'll be, at least. And finally would be listening / adding environmental sound effects and or different footstep sound effects based on the material that the player is walking on. So chat, if you have any opinion on which one of these to prioritize, please let me know. In terms of what I'm thinking of working on right now, I think this one feels kind of obvious. So I think I'd like to start at least placing the lore bit objects throughout the tutorial dungeon, so that way when I do that around adding the lore, they're already in place and I can just have at it, so to speak. I'll also say, also documents exactly each lore bit object has been placed and what instance value is assigned to them. Alright. Lore bits. So the lore bit objects looks like this. It looks like a dark text box that slowly appears as you get closer to it. And the principle of them is that each one contains a bit of lore where Dorothy would talk a little bit about something to both add lore to the player to read to better understand the world, and more importantly, give the player some wisdom XP so that if they obtain enough wisdom XP, they level up their wisdom level and increase the rate they earn XP for, well, everything. So, I'll shower, getting ready for a meeting with KK Sparks. Alright, sounds like fun, Dr. Nicholson. But yeah, as far as lore bits are concerned, they are going to be a very, very, very unique thing about Heartwell, and that's the idea of having fluff. What I would say in other games would be considered fluff dialogue actually have a tangible gameplay benefit. In this case, giving people a much higher XP earn rate. So let's get placing. I think these are on level 1. Yep. So many objects, so little time. So I think This will be lore bit 1. And I'm gonna have to open up something on one of my other devices just to make sure I have all my notes ready for this. Since there are, I want to say there'll be like maybe anywhere from 20 to 40 lore bits in the entire tutorial dungeon. So there's a lot of these things, so it's not trivial to say, oh, there's one in this room, there's one in that room. It's not quite that simple. So I'll definitely need to have at least all my notes out for this. So give me a second, chat while I pull some things up. Looking for the lore bits, looking for the lore bits. Gonna give a way to make fluff dialogue matter. Yeah. I think with the way Heartwell's designed anyway, lore bits will end up being pretty crucial to the player because every weapon can be leveled up to level 100. There's going to definitely be a need for the player to increase the rate at which they earn XP by a lot to be able to keep pace if they want to try a bunch of different weapon ideas or combinations, as opposed to just sticking with one. So the lore bits definitely provide an important role in that respect. Let's pull up. Yep, there it is. All right. Those are wondering what I'm doing. I'm opening this up on different devices. The lore bits are obviously spoilers, so I don't want to spoil you all before you get the chance to play the demo. All right, we have a bunch of lore bits. So the very first one of interest is right here, actually. So let's increase the menu a little bit so I can actually see the instance value. 1. Alright. So lore bit number 1 will be right in front of that grading. So let's add that to our notes. Okay, so this is outside the grading, showing a healing charge in the lower level. Barred off well, central well. Alrighty, and that's the lower bit. We'll definitely be here for a little bit. No pun intended. But we'll get these placed, and that'll be an accomplishment unto itself. One second, chat, while I adjust some things on another device. There we go, that's better. Alright, chat, so while I'm busy writing this up, for those of you who have played like other RPGs, whether they're action RPGs or strategy RPGs like Fire Emblem or something, what's a bit of fluff dialogue that you really, really like? And when I say fluff dialogue, I don't mean like when you're in Persona having a free time event or like a Trails of Cold Steel free time event. I mean like stuff that's like completely missable dialogue from like an NPC that has absolutely no bearing on the story. Well, like no direct bearing on the story in the sense that it's not mandatory. But still, like, you enjoy, whether it was for entertainment value or for significant lore values or things like that. Because for me, one example of I thought was excellent fluff dialogue was in Trails of Cold Steel 2, the whole, I think it was the character Mint that had this hilarious set of fluff dialogue where she's trying to convince her Uncle Makarov to date her music teacher. It's like an ongoing running gag throughout the entire game, and by the end she actually basically succeeds in making the in getting Uncle Makarov and the music teacher in the same area enough times that they actually start to get interested in each other. It was like one of the, it was really funny, and you just seeing that progress. And again, it was all optional fluff dialogue. Looks like the next lore bit outside the wooden barricade. So we'll say copy that. This one's actually going to be right here. It's value 2. Outside the wooden barricade, leading to the eastern exits. All right, next one. Next one I have is in the mine shaft after leading to the eastern exit. So let's put this one. Put that one right there. Then instance value 3. I'm really glad they added instance values. It's made programming with using multiple of the same objects so much easier in Fusion 2.5. But I remember when I saw the announcement for it on Twitter, I actually, I think I sent a message to the developer saying, thank you for adding this. This is so helpful. So I use it now all the time. It definitely helps make things a lot easier for each object and such. So this one is in the mine shaft, leading to the eastern exit. Next one. Sign next to the blacksmith forges Lot's door. That one's actually up here. Put it right there. Now we have that one there. Let's see what one's next. Sign next to the Hydropon Cavern's locked door. I'll just copy paste that. Uh-oh. I'm pretty sure this one's the hydroponic. Yeah, okay, this one has to be the hydroponic cavern's left door. Hydroponic cavern is very large, and it's in the bottom left of the map. So we got that lore bit placed. We have our notes. Next one we got sign that's to the security room. Oh wait, no, not sign, that's to the security rooms. Inside the security room. In front of the screens in the security room. We set that one to 6. Very good. Very, very good. Alright, that's the lore bit. Next lore bit we have is the machine in the science room. In front of the machine in the science room. So that means right around there. Are there any others up here? Oh yeah, there's some in the upper portions. That's one upper scaffolding in the well. So if I'm not mistaken, those damaged areas in the well honestly probably up here. Well, actually we could put it up there. Or, no, here would make sense too. Oh yeah, no, it'd have to be here. Okay. So we'll say on the middle upper scaffolding in the well. This one is instance value 7. This one will be instance value 8. We'll place it on this platform right here. We'll place the next lore bit. Actually up here. since the next one is supposed to be right next to the exit, the central exit. Next to the central exit and near the top of the stairwell. You'll probably want to leave it around there just to give the player plenty of space not to accidentally go into the central exit. Just to be safe. All in all, this will be good progress to make if we put this right here. Or actually, I just think it would make more sense to leave it kind of around here. Let's put it there. And just be on the safe side. Give the player incentive to go that way. Okay. Next one, it says edge of the upper right path after the rattlesnake infested room. Ah, so right around here. That'll be number 10. We'll call this one on the right path that leads to the rattlesnake infested room. Alright, next one. Edge of the right path. Yeah, you're probably noticing, chat, like, I've already listed, like, well over 10 lore bits, and we haven't even gotten to the lower portions yet. So, let's see. Wall between two stairways leading to the rattlesnake hallway and path to the workshop warehouse. Alright. I know where that is. That's right here. Boop. That one's set to 11. Very good. We'll say this is the all into the rattles. Path to the workshop / warehouse, respectively. That's up. And I think that's all or most of the ones on the central well. Now let's proceed to the lower well. The lower well. So many paths, so little time. So where is our first lower bed? I do separate them by routes, so lower well, right route. Since the lower well has a lot of rooms. Atop the platform in the bottom right section of the drainage areas. Let's copy pasta the lower bit. Copy. Past. I think that's probably way ahead of the player animations. Oh, no, maybe not. Yeah, alright. That's okay. That's right. So it'll be instance value 12. Platform, bottom right section of the drainage areas, alright. That's going to be in that platform right there. Next one. Below the lone cabinet in the low section of the pantry. This one will be number 13, and it shall go right here. So there's lower bit number 13. Let's go. Next up, in front of the wooden door, or on top of the stove in the kitchen. I'm thinking I'll need to take a look at what the Yeah, honestly, I'd probably put it in the middle of the kitchen. So, maybe somewhere like here. Like in the middle of things. So, in the middle of the kitchen. Hey, we could just be silly and put it right here. That way it's in between the rattlesnakes. That means the player has to work for it. Alright, so that one is number 14. Next up, number 15. In front of the menu chalkboard on the wall between the kitchen and the mess hall. In front of the menu chalkboard on the wall between the kitchen and the mess hall. Fun fact, chat, for those who have been on my Discord server long enough, you probably saw at some point an image when I was asking for feedback on what to make the lore bits look like, and it was the image I actually used for the background reference is actually this spot right here, since I knew early on I would want a lore bit in front of this menu. So now we are actually placing the lore bit that will eventually be programmed. Well, I mean the object for the lore bit that will eventually have the lore related to this menu right here. So we're coming full circle. Next, in front of the open stall on the right side of the first bathroom. In front of the opened stall on the right side of the first bathroom. Okay, so which one was this? It's kind of hard to see with the wall tiles there, so I'll have to go into tile real quick, just to double check which stall we're talking about. I think it's that one. Let's see, it says in front of the open stall on the right side. Oh, right, okay. So it would be that one. Lore bit number 16, right there. Conveniently, imagine the player, like, they're going through the section like, hi, and they're like, but there's a lore bit down there and I want it. That's the kind of decision making I want to make people think. Be like, I want the lore bit. But it also means I need to go into the pit of snacks. Which is exactly... It's all part of the master plan, chat. The master plan to make the player get good. They have to be willing to explore the most dangerous parts of the tutorial dungeon. Right, speaking of dangerous parts, the next lore bit. In front of the sink on the left side of the second bathroom. In front of the sink. And the sink is right there. So again, being in danger. This is right in front of a rattle. But if you want that wisdom, gotta go for those lore bits. Alright. So that's number 17. Number 18. In front of the leftmost bookcase in the barracks. Add that one in. grab this Lorbit. Lorbit number 18. It's the leftmost bookcase in the barracks. Which means, again, just as of the design of this chat, right there. Right next to the brattle. Perfect. Exactly what we want. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. See, chat, look. If the player goes for this Lorbit, they get to say hello to a nice Brattle, and say hello to the other Brattles. Also on the lower pass. Since if this Lorbit wasn't here, they might not decide to drop down here, whether on purpose or by accident. But because the Lorbit's here, now they'll want to go here and say hello to our Brattle friends. Ah, the decisions. It's all part of the fun of a Souls-like. Alright, next one. Lorbit number 19. In front of the gray door to the room with a grated ceiling in the medical bay. And I already know where this one is, chat. So if you recall this room right here, which looks like this, the door I'm talking about is the one right there. Now, thankfully, for the player anyway, one can stand here without being, at least not in direct line of sight of any particular danger. However, they would still need to walk back through Cabrattle Land and Rattlesnake Land just to get back to the main path. So that's number 19. And that chat was just the right route. Now we're going to the left route. Woo! Far off well, lower well, left route, because the lower well has a lot of rooms. And I think, chat, for the time being, this will be a good spot for us to take our next break. So, we'll take a quick break, chat, and when we come back, I'll continue to be placing these lore bits so we have them all set up for when when it's time to add the lore. So, don't go anywhere, guys. I will be right back. Alright, chat. Let's continue working on the lore bits. So let's see here. Where did we leave off? Ah yes, moving over to the left route. This one will be lore bits number 20. Below the leftmost pumpkin container and leave that one. This is where we start on the left route. So the pumpkin container are these multicolored ones. These pumpkins can come in many different colors. I think it would be right here. So copy that. We'll paste it right there. That one's placed. Next one. I like how the right route and left route show distinction from each other as well. That was just a lot of fun with the design of the dungeon for sure. Below the center of the long row of shelves containing snake eggs. Oh, hey, Copper Nicholson. I'm glad to see you're using some of the Dorothy emotes. They are adorable, no pun intended. Or adorable. Let's move this one. Right here. Alright, time for the next one. Number 22. This lower bit is on top of the middle grate containing drinking water in the room full of rattlesnakes and one could rattle. In other words, so the middle grate is this one, which is, you know, right in the middle of the room. It's a very delightfully devilish place to put a lore bit. Just right there. I'm sure some players are going to have fun doing that one, because I mean, after all, they have to say hi to all the snack friends. You know, just look how nice this is. The player gets to say hello to all these lovely rattlesnakes and the one could rattle before taking a leisurely stroll over to this grate and getting their lore bits. Such fun. Speaking of fun, next lore bit. Between the two containers of manure in the hydroponics tavern. With pumpkins and cabbages. Take a believe right here. Bada bang, bada boom. I also considering chat. We're not at the limit yet, but I think there's a limit of 20,000 objects total per frame in Fusion 2.5. I don't think we're there yet, but the mere fact that I look at a frame object and I see 2,000 definitely is going to mean I'll have to be careful when designing some of the later areas that might be a little, somewhat vast. Definitely don't have to be very, very thoughtful in how I design that, so as not to completely destroy optimization. But that's a problem for future Antomicx. Lower well, left root, next one. At the leftmost, okay, one second. At the leftmost end of the walkway, below the tall shells of mushrooms, carrots, and cauliflower in the Hydroponics Cavern. Yeah, they're saying that seems a bit obscure. What's that, Antomicx? It's literally just right here. Like, the very end of this hallway, of this corridor right here. So way over here. A place that's quite missable unless the player is deliberately exploring. Also, just imagine the player that sees this when they get to this point, decides to drop down, not realizing they need to have the key up here. And having to roll this again. Ah. Delightful. Absolutely delightful. Well, hey, if the player does decide to drop down after missing this lore bit, that means they get to enjoy the rest of this section all over again. It'll be a lot of fun. Alright, next lore bit. I looked at that. We're at lore bit 25. Chat, give it up for lore bit 25. Let's go. Anyway, alright. Next one. Below the 2-level tall stack of barbells in the top center of the room with raised mats. I believe it means right there. We'll double check in. It's that one. Okay. All right. There's that one. That's a couple more lore bits to go. Lore bit 26. Below the top rightmost log used as below the top rightmost log in the training room. That one. Yep. Right there. Not blind to fire or anything, but definitely will require the player to backtrack a little bit if they want to get back onto the main path. So there's Orbit 26, Orbit 25, Orbit 26. So let's give that for Orbit 27. So Orbit 27 is 2 blocks below the leftmost target in the training room. So the training room actually gets 2 orbits. I believe leftmost target is that one. So we'll put this one right here. Alrighty. Yeah, that's level 27, 26. Alrighty, next orbit time. Orbit number 28, the last one on the left route. In front of the topmost locker that is near the Cabrattle, beneath the gap between the showers and the exit path of the shower room. So, right there. So orbit 28. Will likely be right here. Also, then I might want to move this corral just a little bit further down for that. Give sufficient space. For our lovely orbit. This is orbit number 28. Alright. Now, chap, you thought we were done with orbits? We're not quite. Now we have to add orbits into the center route. So this first one, atop the grating that is beneath the well. Orbit number 29. Right, that orbit is placed. Next, orbit 30. All right. top leftmost corner of the bottom portion of the second center wrap section. In other words, chat, in front of the batteries. So, haven't quite copied it over yet, but lower bit. Let's move that to Browl right there. Move this lower bit right here. All right, that's lower bit number 30. I think there's one more that needs to go like right here. To the left of the healing charge item. Put that one right there. That way it's safely out of range of that, while also still being relatively close. Now there are going to be some lore bits in the third area, on the third floor of the tutorial dungeon, but that floor is littered with spoilers, so that'll be something I do off stream. Alright, chat. Well, definitely took a little bit, but I think the fact that we actually placed these lore bits, I mean, right now we have to add, I actually have to add the dialogue for the lore bits, and Dorothy's character portraits for those as well. But on the flip side, chat, this was some good progress. We got all these lore bits placed, and in the central well, we've got, you know, minus the obvious places for testing, we got a new lover door placed, and we got the sections that were added on all tile mapped out. So in all, a stream that was only about a little over 2 hours long, I think that was pretty productive. So at this point, chat, I think this would actually be a good spot to wrap things up. So if you're watching on Twitch, feel free to stick around for a raid. But if you're watching this on YouTube and you like what you saw, please consider subscribing on YouTube. It's free to subscribe on YouTube. You can always change your mind later. That's a great way to show support. If you're watching on YouTube, I hope you have an amazing night.